The Pewtercast is sponsored by huntakiller.com, an immersive murder mystery experience like no other. You can save 20% on your first box when you subscribe by using the code Pewtercast at checkout. And we'd like to thank huntakiller.com for their support of the show. Welcome to the Pewtercast. I am Brent Allen, your host, joined as always by my good friend Ren Rock and Roll Daxed. Ren, what's going on over there, buddy?
I am rocking and I am rolling.
You look like you are about to do like some air drums or something right now.
I was being you.
Yes, you were. In a very good imitation of it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. My pantomime was spot on.
And whatever you're picturing right now, listener, of what Rendax was doing, you're exactly right.
Really? I think they'd be exactly wrong.
I think they'd be exactly right. But hey, listen, this is our Buck in the News show, Ren.
It is.
We're aired. How do you like that as a transition?
It's always better when you talk about it right after you do it.
Yes.
That's one of my pet peeves. It doesn't get me triggered.
Oh, yeah.
But it is a pet peeve of mine if
Right.
somebody does a transition and then they mention the transition.
Right.
Yeah.
I believe the technical term is hanging a lantern on it.
Is it?
Yes, I'm acknowledging that was a really bad transition. We all know that, so now we can move on. But we're going to talk about it for the next 30 seconds as to why.
Is it one or two? One if by land, two if by sea? Is it just a single lantern?
Yes.
When you hang on.
It's a single lantern. I was like,
Is it a single lantern?
I see what you're saying.
Don't you have the old double lantern laying around the house?
No,
one handle.
Yeah, I had
lights.
one. The kids broke it, and just haven't been able to get a new one, so it's been fine. Wow, this has gone off the rails. Let's get back to this. Buck in the News, Ren. If you can believe it, we're already to week 10 of the 2019 season.
It's so sad.
Isn't
I still feel like I'm waiting for the season to start.
Oh, really? Because I'm kind of in that spot of going, are we at that spot where we're ready for the season to like kind of move on?
I'm like ready for a start. It's just,
Yeah.
I just remember waiting so long. For some reason, this off season seemed a lot longer.
It did, didn't it?
It did.
It really did.
And now it's half over.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: would you rather have like a year-long season with dealing with what we have here, or a shorter season? Well, I don't want to say or would you rather deal with it like for a shorter amount of time? Like you either, we live in Buccaneers land football, but we get it all year long, but we might have to deal with this like for much longer because at some point we're going to get to no football.
Yeah,
I mean none.
It's going to be sad.
Yeah. So
again.
Yes, it
for
will
the
be.
12th year in a row.
Right. But we'll get so excited during the off season, right? But listen, week 10.
This before you go, this will be, talk about a teaser. This will be a very action-packed offseason for the Buccaneers. So if you're down about the record, just wait. Just like the NBA, the offseason, the Buccaneers offseason is going to be fun because, we've talked about how many of these contracts are on one-year contracts and people that, that are still under contract but no guaranteed money left. So there's going to be lots of moving and shaking during the offseason this year.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to say I'm excited to get there, but I'm not. Like, I'm not ready to get there yet. I do kind of want to make some moves. I want to make some changes because obviously things that are happening around the Bucs are not going to be able to stay the same, nor do we want them to. Like, we want some things. But hey, listen, we're going to get into some of that. This is our Buck of the News show for week 10. It might be week 10, but Ren, this is the, we've crested the mountain. This is the other half of the season now. Starting this week, we're in week, we begin the second half of the season. And this is the show. If you're new to the Pewtercast and you're looking down and you're watching going, man, they've been talking for 5 minutes. Is this a Buccaneers podcast or are we talking about air drums or whatever? No, this is a Buccaneers podcast. And if you're new to the show, this is the show where all week long, Ren and I have basically been talking about things going on with the Bucs, particularly the game and what's kind of been happening in the bigger realm, but we haven't been talking about what's been going on this week. And so this is the show where the week is done as far as the Buccaneers go. And so we're going to recap everything that's happened with our beloved team over the course of this past week. So that's what this is, especially as we look towards plus the Cardinals game that we have coming up this weekend. We're going to do this in a couple ways. We're going to take a look at any transactions the team may have made on the roster. Take a look at those. There's definitely a few of those. We'll also take a look at some of the headlines that have come out about the Buccaneers. We'll take a look at the injury report and what that might look like as we look to see who's actually going to be suiting up and who might not be for the game on Sunday. So, Ren, without further ado, why don't we get right into it? We'll go to the very top of the screen over here, and we'll start with the transactions.
Right.
Now, I have a question for you because I feel like earlier this week I saw that the Buccaneers had placed Jack Sitchie on IR, although I wasn't able to find any confirmation of that today as I was kind of putting the notes together. Did you hear that as well, or am I just making that up?
No, he's on IR.
Okay.
I saw a picture of him today on Twitter showing off his brand new elbow. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that looks like
it has the baseball seam going down it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. That's a lot of staples, son.
Right.
And you notice there's like another surgery scar like right in between it.
Yeah, right.
That guy breaks a lot.
I mean, it's like they literally they cut two slits down his elbow vertically, and like just I don't know if they peeled it open or what exactly they did.
I don't know what they did there, but it looked to be sort of this. When you hear the term unintrusive surgery, this was not it.
No, this was invasive surgery. They invaded his elbow for sure.
Yes, they did.
This was not laparoscopic surgery at all.
No idea what that means.
That's they put like a little hole on one side and another hole on the other side, and they put like a little camera in there, and they just have a little teeny tiny tool that goes in the other hole, and they do it that way.
Yeah, no, they put the whole camera. This was full size camera.
No, they opened it up and stuck their head in there. That's how big this hole was.
It was. It's I don't want to say it's gross because it's not really gross, but you're gonna have a scar, son.
Yeah, he's gonna have a couple. Hope it involves ninjas. So Jack Sitchie is on IR, but also going to IR. They put Anthony Auclair on injured reserve, and I should have why. What was his injury? Was it
he hurt his toe?
Turf toe. That's what it was. Yeah.
So my bold preseason prediction of Auclair scoring like 6 touchdowns is looking pretty. Look like it's not gonna happen.
How many did he end with?
0.
Yeah, that's tough.
One catch.
That's tough.
Would have had a touchdown if Dot would have made his block last Sunday.
Dot. How many times has there been a touchdown that didn't happen because of specifically DeMar Dotson? Seriously,
I think it's 4.
Is it really?
I think it's 4 penalties that have been called back. Not
like
even
this
just like,
season.
hey, yeah.
You're talking this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, see, I'm thinking of like Dot's been around for a long time. Yeah.
Through the ether of time.
Yeah.
Well, infinite universes with infinite endings. It could be never ending.
Yeah. It literally each universe could have a different sequential number in there. So anyway, Anthony Auclair is on injured reserve. They brought in a couple new guys though, Ren. Sam Acho? I don't even know how to say this guy's name.
Acho Mama.
Yeah.
It's Nacho without an N.
It is. Nacho. He is an outside linebacker coming in because we have also, at least this week, lost Carl Nassib and Anthony Nelson, 2 of our edge rushing guys. Now, they haven't been cut from the team. They're just out due to injury, but they have brought this guy in.
They didn't cut Carl Nassib in their 4th-round pick from this year?
No, they sure didn't.
Okay, just checking.
Just wanted to clarify in case anybody was wondering.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Well, because we're in that spot where we talk about cuts and whatever. So, but Sam Acho, he's been around the league for a while. Played with Bruce Arians. I don't know if it was when he was with Todd Bowles out in Arizona or not.
He was. He knows the system, but he pretty much hasn't played since then.
How long has it been since he's played? Do you have any idea?
17 years.
So he should be fresh.
Yeah, he's ready to go.
Yeah.
He's definitely ready to go.
Yeah, he's been working out with Simeon Rice.
Yeah. No, I think it's been 2, to be honest. But
okay.
But we've seen this stuff before. Like Cutter went and picked up Jaquiz Rogers off the scrap pile, and he picked up the blitz on 3rd down and caught the ball and he threw it to him. Didn't break any tackles whatsoever, but he get you 7 yards minimum. I think Minter, who was super sub this year when White went down early, he didn't play last year at all.
Right.
So it's just a guy that knows the system. He's probably not going to be around long. When
he's not the savior.
No, no. He's there to eat up like 10, 12 snaps a game is what
Okay.
he's there for.
All right.
So JPP and Shaq Barrett don't have to. Oh wait, no, he's a linebacker, and he's outside.
Yeah. Outside linebacker. Yeah.
Okay.
So he is in that JPP Shaq Barrett. Let
so
them
they
go
don't
take
have
some
to,
water.
Yeah, exactly.
Let
So
him
they don't
drink
have to
water.
do 70 snaps a game. So here he is. He can get in there real quick because, like I said, he's played in the system before.
Yeah, I do know Carmen Vitale over there at Buccaneers.com. She had mentioned that she really liked watching him when he was playing with the Bears. So
she's a Bears fan.
That's yes.
By the way, calling her out. Have you done that thing on Buccaneers.com where she'll answer questions?
No, I actually just discovered that this week.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I was in there week 1, week 2. I missed it this week. Like by the time I saw it, it'd been like an hour, and I think that's kind of the cutoff time.
Mm-hmm.
If listeners, if you go in there, you'll get, if you have the app, that's how it happens on my phone, and I get an alert. It's like, hey, join Carmen Vitale. It takes a while. So if you have a question and you type it in, she doesn't give you like 1-word answers. Like she'll write like a paragraph sometimes. So
right.
Don't think that she's forgotten you, or because that's what I did the first time. Like I put it in the thing, and like it's like 10 minutes have passed, and like no one's question had been answered, and I'm typing in stuff like, does this work? Have I done this wrong? Do I need to sign in again?
Right.
And then all of a sudden, like boom, my first question pops up from like 10 minutes ago. I'm like, oh, never mind, it's working now.
Right.
So you just got to be patient, but it's cool. You she'll answer a question. I usually get in there and do stupid stuff. Like you got to keep one candy corn peeps.
And she answers those.
She has so
nice.
far. Maybe
nice.
she's just doing it because maybe she recognizes my name.
There you go.
I'm kind of a big deal.
You're kind of famous. What's it like to be a local celebrity there, Ren?
Lonely. It's lonely at the top.
There you go.
People always asking for money. I got this great business opportunity.
That happens quite a bit. It really does.
It does. When you got a podcast.
Yeah.
It does. It's weird.
Hey, we'll sell you something for $1,500 a week for a year-long contract. Really?
I'm still shocked at that one.
Awesome.
Hey, do you want to come on air and fill our dead air space? Sure. Okay. Pay us $1,500 a week. Oh, and you just have to sign a 52-week contract.
Right.
That's $75,000.
Right.
I'm gonna have to pass on that. Thank
right.
you. Thank you though. Very sweet.
Our revenue, but it's an investment. It's an investment in your show. Sure.
It's an investment in your radio station is what it is. Yeah. I'm paying like 2 of your personalities just off that by itself. Like, geez, man. Because you ever listen to radio, they all complain about how they don't make any money.
Right.
So maybe you're paying for 3 people.
3, yeah, right.
For the whole year. It's like, God, like, all right. What are we talking about?
Anthony O'Clair. No. Acho.
Acho.
Yeah.
Nacho Mama.
Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, he's on. Probably not expecting a whole lot out of him. We'll see. It'll be a pleasant surprise if he does anything, but whatever. The Buccaneers waived wide receiver Amara Darboh. They just brought him up like 2 weeks ago, or maybe last week or something like that. But they signed in his place another outside linebacker, Cousin Daniels, or Kazin, or Cuz, or I don't know how to say that name.
We've had problems with his name. We've had problems with his name since training camp.
Yeah, I think it's Cousin. That's the way it looks to me. But anyway, he was on the practice squad, so they've brought him up. My assumption is he's really just here until the other guys get healthy, and then they'll bust him back down to.
They both
squad.
are.
Yeah,
they both are.
Yeah.
Do you think it's selfish of me that I want Daniels to wear an eye patch under his helmet?
You're referencing the fact that he's blind in one eye.
Yes.
Yes.
And I would like the eye patch to go over the blind eye.
The only way that I can get with that is if it has like a skull and crossbones on the eye patch itself.
Rhinestoned out?
Sure.
Bedazzled?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I really want to see that.
That'd be cool. Would that be part of the league uniform? Would that violate league uniform standards?
I don't know.
And then he'd have to change it at halftime.
I'll just take that $75,000 I was going to give to the radio station and give it to him to pay the fine. Because I really he needs to wear like a red bandana like Chris Conte used to wear.
Right.
And then a bedazzled eye patch. Like, it has to happen.
The word bedazzled has just been spoken on this show more times than it ever in the entire run of the show.
Well, that's true, but the word Gilmore Girls has been brought up more than once. So, or brought
really?
up. Yeah, thanks to you.
Has it really?
Yeah.
I do like that show.
See?
I do. I really do. But anyway, to fill Cousin Daniel's spot on the practice squad, we brought in another outside linebacker, Quentin Bell, into the practice squad. What are the chances we're ever? I don't know. What are the chances we're ever going to see this guy on the active roster and ever care about who he is?
Well, if people keep going down,
that is true.
Yeah, he'll probably be gone as soon as Daniels gets sent off the roster and Acho gets sent off the roster. He'll probably be packing too.
So according to my math, though, this means that the Buccaneers should currently have an open spot on the roster because I don't have anyone replacing Jack Situ when he got on IR. So I feel like I'm missing something that happened in there, but it's not on the official site for transactions or the NFL league transaction tracker either.
They put 2 on IR and brought 2 up. Right.
And then they waived Amara Darbo, so they lost 3 and brought 2 up. Yeah. So,
it's a mystery.
It's a mystery, sure. Anyway,
or the website's not keeping up to date, which is probably
That's
more
it
likely.
right there. Yeah.
I think Brett Grimes is still listed on the roster somewhere.
Did they ever actually get his picture taken and put up too?
He's only been here 3 years. You might want to throw a picture of Brett Grimes up.
Right. All right. Well, that is the transactions we've had. Ren, as far as headlines, there really wasn't a lot of headlines that came out this week that were notable. I mean, it was just a lot of, hey, the Bucs are home now. And...
I got one that we haven't discussed yet.
Okay, let's go for it. Let's kick it off.
Did you see the Mark Cook from PeterReport.com tweeted out about how he's lonely? No, not that one. He tweeted out about how O.J. Howard is going to have this huge second half of the season.
I did.
So, I don't know about you, but I'm to the point where, it's to the point where I'm tired of hearing about people telling me how good O.J. Howard's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got about 8 games, which would, look at that. It coincides with the end of the season to prove it to me, or I'm just going to sort of just not talk about or worry about him anymore. After that, if he shows up still on the team, fine. If he's not, fine.
Mm-hmm.
But, Arizona is giving up the most yards and the most touchdowns to tight ends. It's a pretty safe pick to go, hey, watch O.J. Howard. It's going to be really disappointing if he doesn't go off this week or at least have his best game. But the true test, it's kind of cherry picking saying that, Cook saying that, but he did say a whole second half of the season. So what I'm hoping is that the Buccaneers offense, a la BA and Leftwich, have decided that, you know what, maybe we should use the tight end as our third receiver instead of Perryman and Miller and get him involved. And
I seem to remember
they don't run any routes in the middle of the field.
I seem to remember somebody talking about paying $4 million to somebody, Brashard Perriman, who is going to come in and be at best your 4th receiving option on the team.
Maybe 5th.
Maybe even 5th receiving option on the team. And that being the 3rd and 4th receiving options being the tight ends.
Yeah, Great Howard.
Yeah. It's a good point. I got to tell you, though, as far as OJ goes, I have him on both of my fantasy leagues, and he's on the bench until he does. Until he actually does something, and earns that spot back. You'd play him this week?
I would. Brate's hurt.
Yeah.
O'Clair's on IR, and OJ's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the matchup. Now, right. I don't know what to tell you next week. I'm not going to,
Right.
I don't know if that's sort of going to be the tell I was trying to get to. It's like, okay, he may have his best game or even have a great game this week, but he's playing, it's like the perfect matchup for him. So we shall see.
We'll see. I'm still probably starting Greg Olsen over him, though. So
Ugh.
I know. I hate to say it, but I mean, it's fantasy, so whatever. Anyway. Well, that's interesting. Moving on to things maybe that are a little bit less interesting, but still it was out there. Todd Bowles, let's talk about him for a few minutes.
Sure.
Let's talk about this defense. In his press conference this year, he used the words talking about the defense, saying that it was inexperience and mental mistakes, that is the cause of the bad defense, the plagues of the defense. Speaking of PeterReport.com, Taylor Jenkins, one of their beat writers over there, did a write-up about this over there on their website, and he pointed out that Bowles is still thought of as a top defensive mind in the league. Now, if that's true, the Bucs also sit here at the same time with like the second worst defensive defense in league history or something like that. Like, it's pretty bad, right? Like, they're just a step shy of what we were giving up last year, which was
no, they're worse.
They're worse
as far as points allowed.
They're worse
and
this year for points allowed, because I thought I saw.
Yeah.
And the only reason I'm questioning that is because I
no,
thought
they're second. They're second in the league.
They're second in the league. Yeah,
they're 31st in points allowed, but they're actually worse in points allowed per game
than the team last year, which was the worst defense in NFL history
in giving up points. Yeah.
Wow. So that's been broken twice now from last year. Wow.
All right.
Okay. Well, there you go. So still, that's really bad, right? Is my point.
It is really
for
bad.
A guy who is supposed to be thought of as a top defensive mind in the league. So I'm sitting here and I'm just kind of going, okay, then is this Todd Bowles still trying to overcome the Mike Smith effect? Because you always remember hearing about that with Mike Smith, like, hey, he's a great coach, 2-time coach of the year. You don't just forget coaching.
Right.
You know,
the best defensive minds in the league.
right. And I mean, and Bowles is supposed to be that, and he certainly has the resume to prove it. It's just we're not seeing it now. So is it really maybe something to do with this youth and this inexperience in the secondary? Because as everyone has well noted, and we have well noted as well, we've spent a lot of draft capital in the secondary, albeit though we keep saying like top draft capital, like second and third day picks. Vernon Hargreaves is the only first day pick in the secondary,
but a lot of second day picks.
But it's a lot of second day picks, and it's a lot of third day picks.
A lot of early third day, like round 4.
Sure. Yeah. No, it definitely is. But my point being, it's a really, really, really young secondary.
Yep.
Could it really just be as simple as these guys are just inexperienced and there's not any veteran leadership back there? And don't give me Vernon Hargreaves is our veteran guy, or Darian Stewart is the veteran guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, could it really just be that simple? Like, Jamel Dean gets out and he gets toasted last week. Okay, but before being suited up last week, he had 3 snaps in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
3.
Mm-hmm.
So I ask you the question: is it really just as simple as it's just inexperience for these guys?
Well, we hope so, right? I mean, we used to go crazy about Mike Smith year after year. Communication. Well, now Todd Bowles comes in here, and they draft 3 more corners or 3 more DBs during day 2 after they drafted 3 DBs day 2 last year. Whitehead might have been a 4th rounder. So.
And Justin Evans day 2 the year before that, and Vernon Hargreaves round 1 the year before that.
Yeah. So, it's well documented about how many, high-end draft picks they got back there. Well, now Todd Bowles comes in, it's still communication issues. And now we've added an experience on top of it. We talked a little bit with this about Scott Reynolds about how scary that is, because none of these guys have had a good year, and none of them come out of the gate looking good. Like, they're a rookie, blah, 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 blah. Well, like Denzel Ward, even though I think he was a top 10 pick, in Cleveland, comes out, plays well. Lattimore in New Orleans comes out, play well. Like the Xaviers, there's a Woods and a Rhodes. Like, those guys came out rookie year, played well. So, as a Bucs fan, you'd like to have that, and you could sort of like say, well, they're day 2 picks, some of them are early day 3 picks. So the one that really hasn't worked out is Vernon,
Right.
So, well, you got to wait. I don't know, man. It's scary.
But I want to give you a little bit of pushback on that, though, as you're talking about some of these guys that have come out and I don't know, you actually might know this better. Who do they also have playing with them, not just opposite on the other side of the corner, but also in that cornerback room that is more of a veteran, that are more veteran players? Like you put either one of the Xaviers out there or, one of these other guys you mentioned, and they come out and they perform well as a rookie, but are they on a team where their entire room is nothing but rookie and second year people mostly?
That's no. The answer is no, of course.
Right.
But I don't know if just because you don't have it and you're not doing well, I just kind of feel like that's grasping at straws. I do. I'm not really sure how much, like, just because a guy's been in the league 6 years, that means like these rookies are going to play better. Okay, there's no veteran presence. All right, well then it's the coach's job, to do that stuff. It's the coach's job to teach them how to be a pro, and it's a coach's job to go. As a coach, Dirk Cutter's style is, hey, you're in the pros now. You need to be a pro, and I'm not going to show you. I'm not going to tell you. It's you're going to have to show up and act like a pro. we saw that doesn't work for rookies.
Right.
A lot of our rookies, it just doesn't work. He wasn't so much of a teacher as he was a play caller, and it really showed when he became a head coach. And now we got these guys in, they're preaching about teaching. So I don't know how much, really just having, if we just go get a veteran guy, it fixes everything. And, and because you're like, well, you can't count Darian Stewart. Why not? Like, why can't I count Darian Stewart? Because it's not working.
Yeah. Well,
like, why can't I add the second president of the United States, Andrew Adams? Because,
right.
It's like, well, he's a veteran presence in there. Well, he doesn't count because he's not like an all-pro, Pro Bowl veteran president.
Right.
Like, what's that matter? It's just because it's not working. I feel like you're just grasping at straws. But
you might be, and that's, it's why I'm asking that, because I think of things like, if you remember when Logan Mankins was on the team, that was one of the things you heard, I think, from like Allie and even, I want to say Donovan or someone who talked about, he really helped them develop. And Brent Grimes comes in here, and he was supposed to kind of help Vernon develop a little bit. We see how that's actually worked out and what Brent Grimes actually turned out to be around here.
He taught him how to fall down.
He taught him, yeah, exactly, how to slip, be injured a few games. But yeah, so I don't know, and this leads me to the next question of, and I think this is an even better question, when we start looking towards next year and we look towards the draft and we look towards free agency. Is it maybe not something to just say, hey, listen, when we go to look at this next year, not drafting anybody in the secondary, we're not adding any more youth,
right?
But maybe we actually just focus on bringing in all-pro veteran presence, not necessarily to supplant these guys, but to be around them, whatever that veteran thing is, to take over to help compensate, I guess, for the inexperienced side of this.
Would
that be a good plan, I guess?
I can tell you that I do not want to see a secondary player taken until – I don't want to see him taken at all. I don't care how many draft picks we have. Now, if something stupid like, Delpit from LSU, who's a safety, drops down to us in the second round because he got caught smoking weed, take him.
Sure.
He's going to be an upgrade over what we have. So it's something freaky. Like when Warren Sapp fell to us, we had no business getting Warren Sapp where we did. None whatsoever. But he smoked weed, and there he was. So, but besides that, I don't want to see anybody, any cornerbacks taken, But at the end of it, we don't know. Like, I think it's pretty safe to say that MJ Stewart's not going to be on the team next year.
I would not disagree. Yeah, he
was drafted in the second round 2 years ago. Now he's a healthy scratch. He went from starting at nickel to not starting at nickel, and now he doesn't even dress.
Right,
and it's been 2 weeks in a row. Vernon Hargraves.
He'll be 3 weeks in a row.
We'll see. Vernon Hargraves, like, I'm to the point where you play nickel and get off the field. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, even though Dean got burned all over the place and they picked on him, every time they threw to Hargraves, the guy's been wide open, and the guy's been wide open for 4 years now. You've had your turn to learn. At least you're close to people when you're in the nickel spot. You're almost knocking the ball down. So, it's you play nickel, you put, Davis on one side, who's injured, won't be. So we got Dean and SMB on the outside, and we'll just see where we go from there. As far as like bringing in an all-pro, like, why does a guy have to be an all-pro? Like, I don't know.
I don't know that he necessarily has to be an all-pro. I'm just bringing somebody in who maybe has a little bit of gravitas, maybe somebody who I'm again just follow the train of thought of just being, if Bowles is actually a good coach and is still a good coach.
Yeah.
And the defense is full of not but first and second year players, at least in the secondary.
Right.
And like I said, I discount Stewart and Darian Stewart, because we barely ever see him, and it doesn't seem like he's doing much out there at all.
Yeah. Once we got Adams, he doesn't get on the field anymore. Right.
And Adams, I like Adams, but he's the guy who was walking the street a couple weeks ago. He's here just to fill in a spot. Like, that's not
Kevin Minter.
It's not a leader. Yeah, but we brought in Kevin Minter in the offseason.
Yeah.
He's been around. Andrew Adams came in week 4?
I don't
So,
know.
but that's what I mean. It doesn't necessarily have to be a pro, an all pro or something like that, though that'd be nice. I'm just saying bring in somebody that's got some gravitas or something that can can really come in and maybe help sort out some of these younger guys. Kind of be that mentor, I guess you talk about, as players.
I don't really care about the mentor stuff because these guys are going to kind of all grow up together. Now, and like I said, I think it sort of falls on the coaches because the room is so young. Now, if they can't do it and you want to bring a veteran guy in, it better be somebody good, somebody that can start on the outside. Because looking forward to next year, like you talked about, like Vernon's probably not going to be here. $9 million for a nickel corner in his 5th year? I don't know. Stewart's out the door. So now we got Ryan Smith. I think his contract's up, so he might not be back. So now you got Dean and Sean Murphy-Bunting, who's playing nickel.
Carlton Davis. Let's move him in there.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot about Carlton. So you got Carlton on one side, Dean on the other, and
SMB
Sean
goes in the nickel. Yeah.
SMB goes in there. Say we do that. All right. Sure. One of them gets hurt. What do we do? So it would be nice to have a veteran or somebody or a guy coming off his first contract who's good, who knows they can play, can cover some people, play at one corner, and then put Davis at the other, and then sort of do the Dean SMB because somebody's going to get hurt. They do every year, so if they're going to get time and watch them grow. Then on the flip side, you go, hey, let's not bring anybody in and let's just roll with these 3 guys. Maybe have to draft a guy because 2 of them are now at the door. I'm talking about Stewart and Hargraves. Maybe pick up somebody in free agency, but not sort of this top echelon, Patrick Peterson, Peters, Talib type of guy, but somebody who can step in like a mentor at the quarterback spot that can step in, like you said, be a veteran, but let all these guys play all the time and grow up together. Like, which one do you want to do?
Right.
So, that's where it's tough. And you don't know if they're going to get any better because we've been waiting for Hargraves to get better,
and he never has. And I got to tell you, Ren, I don't know that there's been any Buccaneers media outlet, fringe media outlet that has been more friendly towards giving Vernon Hargraves a chance.
Yeah, just wait.
You and I have
he was hurt.
Yep.
Missed a year.
Yep.
He's playing great in nickel. He looked great on the other side against Buffalo.
Sure.
Yeah. But he can't even. Bruce Arians said that there's too much miscommunication in the backfield to play man against the Seahawks or play zone against the Seahawks is what he said. I'm sure they're working on it, but come on now. We're going into like the 9th game of the year.
Right.
And Vernon seems the one who gets lost the most. You see in these touchdown plays, Vernon's over there, guarding the first down marker, and there's nobody around him for like 10 yards. And it's and that might be fair. I might know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm just saying I'm tired of watching him get burned. I don't remember what the hell I was saying.
Yeah.
I don't, but it's just.
You were talking about you could bring in a veteran guy who is going to start, who is going to be a contributor, is I think where you got off, where you started.
Or a mentor, like I said, or a mentor type that can, when one of these 3, Davis, Dean, and SMB goes down, they could step in.
Yeah.
But I don't think the problem is that they don't know how to be pros or want to be pros. It has been with other draft class, like the whole Vernon Hargraves class, just about.
Sure.
Like Spence is gone.
Bond's gone.
Bond's gone. Beninock's gone.
Yeah.
Ryan Smith just came back from suspension.
Yeah. Vitali's gone.
Gone.
Yeah.
So they're all gone. But BA talked about how this rookie class seemed to be very mature and they were on it, and they seem to have this common thread. Like when they talk about it, is hey, we're all going to grow up together and we're going to be really good. Well, you better hurry.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to have to see, and maybe these 8 games answers a lot of that question. Question for us,
and it does. Now with that, because I kind of want to move this conversation forward, because I found a couple of different headlines, or not headlines. They're more just sort of talking points that I think kind of form a cohesive thought, and it's really all that I had really for this week. So turns out the Buccaneers are averaging 28.8 points per game. The offense is. All right. Well, I guess the team is. That's going to include any turnover points or anything like that. That's good enough for 4th place in the NFL. They are 4th in scoring for the NFL. You put out a thing last week, Ren. I think it was something you came up with while we were doing our Instant Cast show, and you went and actually did it, with the 34 points that the Buccaneers scored, how many games would they have won against the rest of the league? And it was like all of them except for one.
Yeah, our game and the Ravens game.
Right.
Yeah. The Ravens.
But the Bucs would have won any other game. All things else being equal. Everything else
32 points would have won you every other game.
Right.
We scored 34.
Right.
And yeah, we would have went like 12-2 or something.
Yeah. So for as much as people want to talk about the play calling of Byron Leftwich, which I got to be honest with you, I'm sick of hearing about people complain about the play calling of Byron Leftwich.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
They're averaging 28.8 points per game, like
most points they've ever scored.
Yeah, and I mean, and we can even talk about the bad stuff that happens with Jameis and the turnovers and the interceptions and Donovan Smith hitting his elbow and causing a fumble. And despite all of that, all the stuff that pisses us off and we rant about and rave about on the Instant Cast, and people just lose their ever-loving minds about, they're still fourth in the league in scoring. Like, they're still up there. So this goes back to, I think, the point that you have made for the last couple of years, Ren. It's the defense, right?
Yeah.
Like, the problem on this team is not the offense. Even in their red zone scoring woes, even in their kicking woes over the last bunch of years, although that seems to be pretty good this year, even in all of these things that are detractors from the offense.
Play calling, can't run the ball.
Yeah, like all of those things. So I'm ready to stop talking about that. It's the defense. The defense has been the issue.
And now they fixed up front. Like, they're getting decent pressure.
They are, yeah.
You know, it's not as consistent as everyone hoped, because you know, we always watch like the Thursday night game or maybe the early or late game, whichever one the Bucs are playing, and then the Sunday night game, the Monday night game. One of these teams are going to go off and get like 5-6 sacks, and you're like, why can't that be us? But if you watch that team throughout the year, they're not getting 5-6 sacks every week.
Right.
You know, that's just the way sort of this thing goes. You know, there tends to be, at least I have observed, there's a huge mismatch somewhere along the offensive line. You know, one guy is going to eat that week.
Right.
You know, and when that happens, a bunch of sacks pile up. Next week, there might not be a huge mismatch.
Right.
It just might be an evenly played game where they get like 8 pressures, maybe a sack, maybe 2, you know, and that's how normally the games are going to go. But they fixed the up front. They fixed the pass rush. They fixed the hell out of the run defense. Vontae Davis playing his best ball, like, since his all-pro year. You know, Devin White's, like, I think his arrow is pointing straight up, had a fantastic game against the Hawks. So now it's not just the defense, it's just the secondary.
It's just the secondary, right. So with that, this, I don't know if this is a headline. With this week's loss, the Bucs have lost 4 in a row, which is a first for BA, because he has never actually lost more than 2 in a row as a head coach. So this is kind of a thing. Now, Scott Reynolds in his Fab 5 at RepeatReport.com references BA walking around being confident, a little twinkle in his eye. And he says that, you know, Arians still believes that the Bucs can turn a corner. And Scott goes, and I believe him. And why does he believe him? Scott Reynolds cites 2 things. The first thing he cites is the look in his eye, which I find very, very interesting. And so
that's
kind
right
of
up there. That's right up there with, they're really angry after the Titans game.
Right.
Well, I hope they're double secret angry this week.
Sure.
Because angry wasn't enough.
Right. But, and I'm going to wrap all this back around to the defensive and the secondary and the Todd Bowles thing.
Sure.
Okay. The second thing that Scott Reynolds references, though, is the lack of blowout losses, which you and I have talked about on the show to some degree. We haven't gone into this depth, and Scott actually has a great write-up about it that details it out. Like, it's you know, I can just talk about it like, man, I kind of feel like this is it. He presents the actual numbers that show you what it is. There have not been any blowout losses. So bring all this together where we go, Bowles is a top defensive mind. It's really in the secondary. He says it's just inexperience and mental mistakes, which ultimately what's going to fix inexperience? Experience, right? Like,
well,
like that's how you solve inexperiences.
Doesn't mean you get better, but I got you.
But you see what I'm saying? So, you know, but we're doing 28.8 points per game. Right. Yes, we're allowing a lot of points. But we're not letting anybody run away with the game either.
Yeah.
You know, like, nothing is a blowout loss. So I kind of sit back and go back to, does this team just need more time in this system than 8 games for everybody to expect this to be the triumphal march into Jerusalem of the Buccaneers? Like, you know, to learn, to grow, to get the yips out, cleanse the system of the yuck that has been for the past 15 years, you know.
Is it the Turks or the English that are marching in Jerusalem?
I'm going to go with the English in this particular time. Richard the Lionheart leading the way.
Is he real?
He was.
Was Robin Hood real?
He might have been. Probably not, though.
All right.
Probably.
Is
not.
it the first time marching in
one.
Jerusalem?
I think
the third one.
with a sparrow and a coconut Anyway, but I mean, like Tony Dungy comes in, goes 1-7 in his first bunch of games. BA is a little bit better at that at 2-6. And I sit back and I put all this together. Again, these are headlines. It's what the coaches have said, and I've kind of declared this year as a along for the ride kind of year.
Right.
Like you say, I'm just being self-protective. Like I'm not going to get too high. I'm not going to get too low. Like wherever they go is where they go this year, and we'll see where we wind up. But
whatever
you got to
you
give
do
them the
is
whole
fine
year.
with me.
Yeah, I'll be there in my Buccaneers hat, and we'll do our podcast 4 times a week.
Your fourth 95-yard drive given up today. No problem. Just glad to be here.
Just along for the ride, whatever you want to do. So
I think I'll buy a $9 warm beer.
Right. But I mean, does that to me, these things kind of all wrap back into each other. Does that ring true to you at all, or am I just grasping for straws here?
No, I hear what you're saying, and it's. I think a lot of this is sort of the new narrative that's starting to gain ground. It's kind of been mumbled about. I think we talked about it after the Tennessee game. I'm like, it's over. Like, just enjoy the ride. Just look for improvement. Now, the narrative about making the playoffs or is, can the defense improve and can the play, like all that stuff is gone. Just look for improvement. This season now is completely about Jameis Winston and getting better.
Right.
And that's across all facets. Now, of course, the main focus is those young secondary people that we have talked about ad nauseum in this podcast because they are terrible right now, and it shows. But, I mean, it wasn't get turned around. We weren't going to go to the Super Bowl this year, even if we squeaked into the playoffs. It's just that, and
I'm sorry to interrupt. I mean, even BA sort of lent it to that. Where he said, like, I think his words to the Glazers were, if we make it to the Super Bowl in my second year, I'm out.
Then I'll retire.
I'll
retire.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, as Bucs fans, we listen to BA, we watch this defense, only 10% of the defense. I watched this defense in training camp and preseason. They had given up only 1 touchdown, all through preseason, the starters. And then after 2 games, they'd only given up 1 touchdown. And we've only seen about 10% of the playbook, and we're starting to believe we're 1-1. And here come the Giants. And then Gay missed the kick. And it's just sort of, we should be, and a lot of teams can say this, and I'm not, trying to stump for, but we should be 4-4 in the mix of a playoff run. At least in the conversation. Okay, it would have been nice to squeak into the playoffs, but like I said, we weren't going to win the Super Bowl this year. So what they're doing now, and they knew the secondary was a problem when they got here. That's why they drafted 3 guys after just drafting 3 guys before. So I trust it's going to get fixed. I really can't be much happier with the offense. I can't. I would like to see Rojo get some more touches, improve on his pass protection so he doesn't have to come off the field. And if he wants to get spelled by Barber, and then maybe next year, TJ Logan. Like, I think Dare needs an upgrade. He looked great in training camp, but it's just sort of not translating on the field. I mean, what can you say about the receivers? Yeah, we need a third wide receiver. Okay. But we got, a tight end. Like, you don't need 5 guys to throw the ball to that are, that are really good. You need 2, and we have 3, not including Brait or any of our backs. So, the offensive line seems like done a complete turnaround. Jensen's playing better. Alley's maybe having his best season. No one's yelling about Donovan Smith. No one talks about Kappa. Dot. He's, probably his last year as a Buccaneer. We got to replace him. And then you switch to the defensive front, who's doing great. Like, the pieces are in place. Like, the year before Andy Reid got to the Chiefs, they had like 6 people go to the Pro Bowl, and they went 2-14.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is kind of how I feel this team is. Like, Allie could make it. Mike and Godwin are both probably going to make it, right? So there's 3. Shaq Barrett's going to make it just off his sack numbers. Levante David is now not competing with all the Shaq Barretts of the world because he's playing outside linebacker. So now he's playing inside, playing his best. That's 5. Who's one more? I had another one. Oh, Vita Vea. There's 6. And I'm not even, and like, you're not even get a cheap one with a kicker or a punter like the Chiefs did. Like, all those guys should make, the only one who I think may not make it is Allie, but he might be the one who deserved it the most. Oh, I don't know. Evans and Godwin are having great years. But so, there's a lot of pieces and places. And again, it all falls back on the secondary and if they can mature, and the faster they mature, the better we're going to be. But it's, we don't have to travel as much, obviously. And the second half, the records aren't as good as the opponents we're playing. So I expect us to string some wins together. I really do. But, like you said, there's this common theme about you just got to wait. We were fooled into it was going to be turned around quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to reload, not rebuild. Well, that would have been nice, but you got to rebuild that secondary. It's just killing us, absolutely killing us.
There you go. All right. Outside of that, Ren, that's all I had. Like this really was a week where not much happened.
It seems to be a common theme with these guys. There's not like any drama.
Uh-huh.
Right. It's not like Sean Jackson looks disinterested. Like we have like a conversation about that, or
right.
Yeah, everyone just kind of does their job. Mm-hmm. Aren't you forgetting one though?
Yes. This was actually, you brought this up to me just when we were kind of in pre-show, so I will hand it over to you for this, Brent.
Oh, darn. Well, as I was clicking the link to come and hang out with Brent on, ironically, Google Hangout, I saw on Twitter that the Buccaneers were just named the 45th best team of all time in the NFL in the first 100 years of the NFL.
The 2002 Buccaneers.
Yes, sorry. No, yeah. This year. Based off the strength of the secondary. No, the 2002 John Gruden Super Bowl championship, Buccaneers were 45th best team of all time. And I told that to you, and you thought it was low, high?
Low.
You didn't like it.
No, my fan reaction, like my super biased, I focus on the Bucs and I focus solely on my team, and I feel bitter because the national media always gyps the Buccaneers, I feel, goes, 45th? The 2002 Buccaneers are like amazing and great. How dare they rank us that low? But, I have to ask, like, how many teams are they actually ranking here? Like,
probably 100.
Is that? I mean, and my question back to you was like, okay, does that seem right? Like, because we saw a ranking come out before the season of like ranking the wide receivers in the league, the top 100 wide receivers, and Mike Evans was like 17th. Yeah. And we're like, no, that's not right.
Maybe in that universe we talked about where Dot's still playing.
Maybe. I mean, maybe if it's Mike Evans playing corner. God, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it's no. And
good one, Brent.
Yeah. I was going to try to do something, but then I decided not to mid sentence. My point being,
yes.
Like, is this really a low ranking? Do you feel, or is that? I mean, does that seem legit? Like 45th best team in the history? Because I think this is where I go back to the defense. That defense that year, and I understand this is talking about the whole team, but the defense that year is touted as like it's usually put up in the top 10, if not top 5 best defenses in the NFL like ever.
Yeah. Oh, so that's the question. Mm-hmm. Well, like you, when I first read, I was like, 45th, really? But this is what it doesn't do. Like, if they put in, like, of course, the 71 Dolphins are going to be up there somewhere, Mm-hmm. But if you put the 71 Dolphins in their prime against the 2002 Buccaneers in their prime, they're going to wipe the field with them.
Right.
Because their middle linebackers are like $135, and their defensive tackles are like 210.
Right.
It's just the size of the players back then, and we would crush them. So what they do is they take that team and basically how dominant they were that year against, that competition. And, it's the 100th year of the NFL. Like, that's a lot of teams. Mm-hmm. So if you sort of take the head-to-head matchup out of it, and the Bucs offense wasn't great. Like, they didn't catch fire till the playoffs. Like, they struggled. That's why we lost 4 games during the season. So yeah, it's a little low maybe. But of course, I'd like to see it higher. Higher. But I don't know. At least we're on it.
There you go. All right. Well, there you go. 45th team, 45th best team in NFL history. I would still like to see us a lot higher than that, but and to be fair, I haven't looked at the other 44 teams. I don't know. I don't think
they've gone that. I think they're going the other way. Like wherever they started it, that's how they do it. Like the 44th team hasn't been announced yet.
Gotcha. So we'll see where they get to that. So, all right, Red. I mean, that's really it as far as news and headlines. Like we said, just not a lot really coming out this week. There wasn't much in the press conferences. It was a lot of to me anyway, a lot of blah blah. We'll get better. We'll just keep getting better. Get back to work. So anyway. All right, well, let's move on. Let's take a look at the injury report, final injury report of the week. For the Arizona Cardinals, they've got, I don't know, it looks like about 12 people on their deal. They've got 4 guys out: Zach Allen, Tremaine Brock, Chase Edmonds, and Brooks Reed. I don't know enough about the Cardinals to know if these are anybody of import. Do you?
They play for the Cardinals, so no.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. The names I do recognize: Chandler Jones, David Johnson, and Larry Fitzgerald, are all listed as full participation. Yeah, they're all going. So you have that. All right. Let's turn our team to our guys, the good guys. Carl Nassib, Carlton Davis, and Anthony Nelson are all listed as out for this game. Carlton Davis, I'm sure most people have heard by now, sustained some sort of injury during warm-ups last week, which is what led to Jamel Dean being put on the field, but apparently he's still injured.
He caught his hip walking by the hot dog cart, and it hasn't healed yet.
Was Gerald stalking around the hot dog cart? And
it was Chris Baker's, what he's trying to do to make money. Okay. Now he's out of the league.
Gotcha. Well, if it gets him on the field.
Big bakes, big dogs, what it's called.
There you go. He doesn't like to cook them, but he just likes to sell them.
Okay.
I
don't get that.
Remember, it was the whole he doesn't like to practice, but he's a good player or whatever.
He
doesn't want to cook the hot dogs. He just wants to sell them.
That was too clever for me.
That was a stretch though. That was a stretch. Anyway.
My wife cooks them. I just sell them.
Right. But
I'm the George Foreman of the hot dog world.
I do think it is notable on a
palm tree.
You wait for me to start talking before you talk over me, don't you?
You don't let me get into my rhythm is what's going on.
It's because I'm trying to move the show along.
Why?
Carl Nassib, Anthony Nelson, both outside linebackers, similar position guys. Those guys are both out. We talked about it a little bit earlier in the show. That's why we brought in a couple of extra guys. But, this is really going to be the Shaq and JPP show this week, yeah?
I don't think so.
We assume? You don't think so?
I think last year it was, or last week it was. Uh-huh. That's why they brought in Daniels and Acho. And, BA actually even said in the on-field presser today, the real short one, he said, not looking for 70, you're looking for 50. So, for anything to happen, I guess the big plays you would expect to come from those guys, but I would expect that every week. But they're not going to play as much as they did against Seattle.
All right. Well, we'll see where they go. So hopefully these guys. And to be honest with you, I don't care who's out there as long as the team's playing well.
Right.
So all right. Also listed on the injury report, but these guys are all going to be full participation, and they're all going to go. Cameron Brate, DeMar Dotson, OJ Howard. OJ Howard, by the way, full participation this week with that hamstring injury, so it looks like he'll be falling off the injury report this coming week. Ali Marpet as well listed at full participation, as was Donovan Smith, who had a thumb injury. I wonder what happened with his thumb. Anyway, so yeah, that's really going to be it, Ren. So the inactives, they give you 3 right off the top. Looking for 4 more. Who is going to not be dressing up, so we know who is going to be dressing for the game this week?
I'm taking 2 offensive linemen. I am sitting Hawkins, and I am sitting Traywin. I am sitting the tight end Jordan Leggett.
Okay.
And I'm going on, and I think I'm wrong on this one, to be honest, but I'm doing it anyway. I'm sitting Acho.
Okay. Just too new on the team?
Yeah, that's my thinking. But
yeah,
that's what I'm doing.
They do tend to sit those guys that they just bring in. I thought about Acho, except that he already has familiarity with the system, and I think they need him suited up this week with both Nassib and Nelson being out. And the only other guy they brought up was, and I don't mean this lightly, a half blind guy, is a practice squad guy. That's who they brought up, was a practice squad guy. So
Patches?
Oh, can we call him that, please?
Yeah.
Rhinestone Patches.
Rhinestone Patches. Rhinestone Pirate.
There you go.
Rhinestone Pirate.
I bet if you got with Ukulele Pete, he'd record that song for you.
Okay.
He probably. Anyway, so I left Acho in. I actually sat Cousin Daniels, though, as opposed to Acho.
The guy that's been there since week 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I also set another guy who's been there since week 1 in MJ Stewart.
Really?
Yes.
With Davis down?
Yes.
Wow. You hate him.
Yes.
You'd hit him with your car if you saw him crossing the street.
Not on purpose.
Yeah, you would.
Not on purpose.
You Pulp Fiction him.
I'm not saying I wouldn't. I'm just saying I wouldn't do it on purpose.
I would do.
So
That's the story. I'm sticking to it.
all right, Red.
Oh, my foot slipped off the brake. I don't know what's going on.
Somebody switched them on me.
The kids were yelling in the back, and I reached back. Next thing I knew, I ran over MJ Stewart. You're welcome, everybody. I mean, I'm sorry.
I shouldn't laugh at that. All right, Ren, that's going to bring us up on the end of the show. So I'll give you a chance. Sure. Any thoughts you have as we head in towards this Cardinals game, and you know what to do after that.
Wait, did you say all your guys? You didn't say all your guys.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was with you the rest of the way. It was Carlton Davis, Carlton Nassib, Anthony Nelson, Hawkins and Trey Wynn, MJ Stewart, and Cousin Daniels.
All right.
For my 7. Yeah.
That's the loser list.
Hey, speaking of the loser list, did you see that one of your guys in the Rendaxed RFC Pewtercast Fantasy Football League this year posted a picture of the league standings right now?
I have not.
And you are dead last.
Am I?
Yes,
do I have any wins?
2. You have 2 wins.
Really?
You're 2-7. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about that, everybody. That has not worked out, and I'm sure it's a little frustrating. The person who set up the league can't get into it and doesn't set his lineup every week. I just hope that I don't affect, I don't know. I just hope I don't accidentally beat somebody later on in the year, and that makes them miss the playoffs.
Right.
Or somebody beats me who really doesn't deserve to, but that gets them in the playoffs over somebody else. So I just hope that doesn't happen. But anyway, the best place to find me is obviously not in my fantasy football league, is on Twitter at Rendax, REN_DAXT. I'm always down to talk Buc'In like a rhinestone pirate football.
And if you guys want to get in touch with me, you can find me at Brent Allen Live across all the social medias. And the show is at the Pewtercast on Twitter and on Facebook. And you can email us to thepewtercast@gmail.com. Yeah, that's it. There's no // gmail.com, pewtercast@gmail.com. We will read those emails on an upcoming episode. Hey, join us Sunday night, 10 o'clock for the Instant Cast. Phone lines will be open. We'll be going live at youtube.com/thepewtercast. You guys can join us there. Always a good time. Then we'll be back next week with a brand new guest going into our Final Thought show. We'll have our email fan interaction show, and then we'll be back at it with Buck in the News next week as we head towards whoever it is we're playing next week. Is it Saints? Is it Saints Part 2? I don't know. Whatever it is. But that's what we have coming up. So, guys, be on the lookout for all that. So, until then, there's really nothing left to do it but to do it as we go in and play the Cardinals. If you're going to be at the game, look us up because at least one of us will be there. Maybe both of us. Who knows? But one of us will be there. We're finally back at Raymond James. So, we'll talk to you guys then. And until next time, guys, go Bucs.